Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited to be here with you guys today, bringing you a special guest. I was going to say from Portugal, but not technically from Portugal today, but a special guest who lives, special guests. I'm used to saying special guests because I do one person at a time, but special guests because this is a group expedition today. I was going to say a menage, but no, that's not what we're saying. We're going to say it's a group event today with one of my favorite couples online, Halisi and Ric. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So when we invited them to join us today, Halisi was like, "Do you mean me only, right? Like you don't really mean Ric?" Because I've never had a man on the channel before.
No, wow.
Never. This is the first time. It's the first time that I'm pretty sure. I'm 99%. I'm forgetful, but I'm 99% sure you're the first man on the show. But for people who were like, well, how come he gets to be here? He gets to be here because he's a very, very lovely person. And I like nice people. And Ric is nice.
Thank you so much.
I like him. So he's here. I don't know if Halisi brought Ric or Ric brought Halisi today. I'm not sure. But I think I love them both equally. So.
Okay.
I brought him. You know what time it is.
I do. I'm trying to be nice, girl. I'm trying to be nice. Thank you guys for being here. I know a lot of you watching the channel now are already familiar with Ric and Halisi. They have their own YouTube channel, Our BlackUtopia, which is linked in the description. So if you aren't already subscribed there, you should be subscribing there, especially if you have any interest in moving to Portugal, because they share such great content about life in Portugal. But I met Halisi pre-Portugal. I met Halisi when she was in the States and she was thinking about moving, but she wasn't like, retirement was still like a concept that was like, I don't really know about all that, right? And so I think one of the most interesting parts of Ric and Halisi's story is for people who don't know them. For other people who know them, they're like, yes, I've heard this. But hey, for the newbies, if you're watching this, welcome. We're going to talk about how they got from a place where retirement wasn't really something that they like really thought was within their grasp to making it happen. If you're watching this for the first time, hello, my name is Rashida Dow. Welcome to my channel. Stick around for a while. Give it a thumbs up. Press the like button. Okay, I always say this. Give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs down. Have an opinion and tell YouTube what you think. Because if you watch it and you're like, I hate her. Ric and Halisi, we've talked about people commenting on YouTube. Every once in a while, I get a comment that is like, I don't like the way you blah, blah. Just give it a thumbs down, baby, and move on with your life. Because if you make a comment, YouTube thinks you're like supporting. I said, we're going to give you more of my content. No, if you don't like this, give it the thumbs down and move on. And so you don't have to see me again. I promise. Anyhow, we're going to talk about YouTube, I think, in a second. Yes, we're going to talk about YouTube too on this list. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
All right. So welcome to the channel. We're going to talk to Halisi and Ric today about life, but let's start back. For the people who don't know, can we give a little brief blurb about your relationship in the sense of like, when did you come together and decide that like you were planning the rest of your lives together?
Originally, or the latest rendition of this?
Whatever you want. It's your story.
Gosh, shoot, I don't know, girl. We've been together since 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Met her on a movie set.
That was in the 90s, though.
Well, that too.
Right. And I was married to someone else. So we are not, this is not a first marriage. And I say that for two reasons, because a friend of mine had been married for like 20 years. And she's like, oh, yeah, that failed marriage. I'm like, that's not a failure. That's 20 years. Right. And you raised a child, right? And then the other reason why I say it is because we didn't get it right the first time.
Okay.
Hello, right? Like, or the second time, truth be told.
Tell the girls still waiting to get it right. Tell us something.
It's right, like so my mom's always like, "I'm glad you didn't give up on them menses." But look, I made the mistake in picking buttholes. Everybody's not a butthole, right? And so that was my mistake in picking buttholes. So Rick and I met through mutual friends, and we met because of video production.
Okay.
Yes, which is kind of interesting. So we already had a mutual interest. But as far as this part of our lives goes, I think we started really seriously thinking about this after our first big international trip to South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, because the Caribbean and stuff, that don't count. Like people are like, yeah, I left the country. I went to the Bahamas. And look, no hating, because I love the islands.
It all counts.
But it doesn't feel as international. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
We're gonna sidebar. I need to take notes. I'm gonna be Stephanie real quick with my pen and my notebook. Why do you think the Bahamas doesn't feel that international? What's your theory?
Too many people speak English.
Okay. All right.
I think that's the first thing. I don't have to worry about the language.
Okay.
And then London looks so different that, and I haven't been to Australia, that you're not in America because it looks like a scary movie. England, like all the architecture is Gothic. It just looks like everything looks like a scary movie. Okay, who's about to come out?
I always thought when you go to Bahamas and stuff like that, you're more apt to run into your next door neighbor.
Exactly. That too. That too, right?
So what year was the South Africa trip?
2008.
2008.
Yeah, 2008.
And you'd gotten together in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Is this in the first, second, or third iteration of your relationship?
I'd still say 1.5 to 2. Yeah. Still early stages.
It was early stages.
Gosh, when you say the years like that, it seemed like we had been together so much longer than just 5 years.
I think we had mentally.
No, but it did. Yeah.
Okay. So you talked about it in 2008, but then you guys haven't been planning it together since 2008.
No, we've been dreaming.
Okay.
And that's a difference, right?
Right.
Like, because we talk about it, and it would be more about it sure would be nice if, it was more from that vein as opposed to what do we need to do to make this happen?
Right. Because it's almost like you can't do that. Everyday people don't do that.
Only rich people do
Only
that.
rich people do that.
Okay.
You can't look at real estate in South Africa. How dare you look at real estate in South Africa? You can't move to South Africa.
Okay.
Did
you ever look at real estate in South Africa?
We did.
We did.
Okay. All right. I want to pause for a second because there's a terrorist in the comments. Unfortunately, I'm related to them. My mother showed up and said, Good morning, Rick and
Good morning, darling.
Good morning, Rick and ladies. Like I didn't kick down the door and swim out her birth canal. Like what are we talking? Rick and ladies.
I love that woman.
I love her. Myself and free myself out. And she said, good morning, Rick and ladies.
She said she birthed herself. Okay, I'm gonna have to redo my makeup.
How rude. Listen.
She's mom. She gets mom privileges.
Moms get privilege.
No, listen, Halisi, you know this. They take it too far. They take it too far, don't they? Don't they take it too far?
To hear, yes, Gloria does take it too far. She does. She does.
All right, but back up on the track. So 2008, you went to South Africa. You were talking about moving. The idea, the dream was created of moving abroad, specifically to South Africa, or did it open up other avenues of consideration?
I think it was like South Africa was like 50% and then 50%. What else may be possible?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna run through these years, maybe like 3 at a time. 2008, you had the dream. What was going on in 2011?
Doing my own business, trying to make that money.
Okay, so you were making money with the goal of moving, still the dream of moving abroad.
The original dream was to, and I've told you this before, was to retire by a Winnebago and
Okay.
travel around the United States.
Okay.
Making documentaries.
Ooh. Okay.
So that was still there
Right.
somewhere in the background. And then, but if we could make this other thing happen, that was somewhere there. Again, be it South Africa or Winnebago, it was a dream without a plan.
All right. Now in 2008 to 2011, when you said, this is a collective dream at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the collective dream, what did you have an amount of money that you collectively thought you, or maybe y'all had different things in mind, but the amount of money that you thought you would need to make this dream happen?
I don't think so.
We had absolutely no MFing idea. And that's the
It's like, I want to do this. And so you say you started a business because you wanted to make the money, but you didn't know how much money you needed to make.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still dreaming. We're still dreaming.
This is what I know. It's more than I got now.
Listen. And sometimes we move through giant chunks of our life just with that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I need, but it's not this. This isn't enough, or it's got to be something else. And so
Exactly.
it's just a thing. It's just a thing, right? We've all been there. It's not enough, but what is enough? Who knows? Okay. 2014, where are we? Are we at a plan or a dream still?
We're running for office. So
Okay.
now it's a dream deferred.
Okay.
Because I'm going to run for office. I'm going to win, of course, and do the 12 years, get my pension, and then we're going to do it.
Okay, so you were relying on a pension.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
Rick, you've been awful quiet.
I'm listening to her because pretty much when she was running for office, I was pretty much the support.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a family affair when
yeah,
somebody runs for office.
I was the guy that when we would go to events, if she didn't know them, I had kind of researched them and knew who they were and who their spouse was and stuff like that. So I could just kind of whisper in her ear and say, that's blah, 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 blah.
There's a name for that, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah,
I was her body.
It's the
her body man.
Yes, the body man. I was like, I know I've heard this before. Okay, I need a body man. So y'all be on the lookout for somebody because I need somebody.
Plus, I was there for the cray-crays. You know, when they came out, if they had disagreement, I wasn't going to stand and let anybody snatch a mic from my wife or anything like that. That wouldn't be good.
Yeah, because all of that.
The bodyguard. This is nice. This is nice. Okay.
All of that stuff started popping off by that point, right? Politically, it was getting pretty ugly.
All right. So that was 2014. You're running for office. So this is now a dream deferred. 2017.
That's the wake-up call.
Okay.
That was the wake-up call. That was the point when, out of the blue, old colleague's husband called me and said he was a financial planner.
Mm-hmm.
And he would like to meet with us. And, you know, he threw out his wife's name. So we met with him. He wasn't no financial planner. Y'all, just because somebody says they're a financial planner, he was an insurance salesman. That's what he was. But what that meeting did do, go ahead, sweetheart.
Oh, it really wakes you up, and it depressed me.
Yeah.
Seriously depressed me, because it was like, okay, wait a minute. You mean that I'm going to have to work for the rest of my life? And he had me taking care of her mom and dad for the rest of my life.
Because of the age difference.
And
I'm still working my butt off.
And she's still working. And it's like, okay, there's got to be something different.
Yeah, that's not life. That's not life. And I think, like, at that time, we weren't starting from zero, right? It might as well have been for our age, but I want to say we probably had about $35,000 to $45,000 total saved up.
For retirement or saved up for every aspect, like emergency fund?
Everything.
Everything.
That's like
Okay.
including retirement, cash, etc. And then, yeah. That's probably about it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what was give me your takeaways from the meeting with the financial planner, besides like, I don't want to work forever, but like, what were some more tangible things that happened in that situation that led you to take more action or take more action, I'll say?
I think it was, well, okay. Let's just be honest. I didn't take major action because, see, I'm overly optimistic. And I was like, look, that white boy, he's assuming I'm going to be making the same amount of money tomorrow that I'm making today. That's an assumption. We about to pop off. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. All of this stuff that was totally out of my control, again, with no plan. So I walked out thinking, I'm just going to make more money. But if you're spending more money, then it doesn't make a difference. Right. And so, so that's how I walked out. But the other thing was, when I was looking at our net worth, it's like, okay, we've got to eliminate some of this debt that that was created because I was running for office and I wasn't working my business except for the minimum with the clients that I already had, et cetera, right? So I was making just enough to pay our bills, and any emergency, we were taking out of savings or putting on a credit card. So our debt was over 20,000. And so I think that was the thing that was like, okay, that's not normal. Like, my parents never had that kind of credit card debt. Even though they were really bad with money, they never had that kind of credit card debt. And so I think that was my key takeaway: get out of debt. And that was it of financial knowledge.
Okay.
Did he say, like, okay, you need to up the amount you're putting into 401k? No, he did not. But Mr. Financial Planner.
Or buy some insurance.
Right.
That's the answer.
Right. Like, Rick at that time did not have a 401k because he had convinced himself that it was too late.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And did he say it's never too late? $10,000 in tax deferred is better than no $1,000. No, he did not.
Buy more insurance.
That money's got to go towards them insurance premiums. Right?
Okay. So you talk to the insurance planner, and it leads you to getting out of debt. How long did it take to get out of debt?
So late 2017 until the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
That the first stimulus checks paid off the last bit of it.
Yay.
Thanks, Trump. If he didn't do nothing else.
So that, right? Like, okay. So $2020, you've paid off your debt. At this point, Rick, have you opened any kind of 401k, any kind of retirement plan? Or
yeah, I had went on and opened a 401k at work, and just saving what we got to saving 60% of our income.
50% of his at the end.
50% of mine, yeah. And just and it started growing.
Yeah.
It grew like crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy when that happens. When you're like, oh.
Between 2018 and 2021, it grew to 40,000.
Okay. All right.
That's 40,000 that, like, we would not have had. Y'all, it's never too late.
Nah, no, it's not. It really isn't.
Now, between the conversation with the insurance salesman and you actually opening the 401k, because he didn't mention that, do you remember what sparked the idea of doing that and actually you taking action?
Her.
I was wondering if he was going to remember. I was like, look, you going to do this because it's never too late. And it took me like a year to wear him down.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I mean, I had 401k in another company that I had worked for before, but the company that I had was at the time. I was like, nah, I'm not really interested, and I don't plan on being there that long anyway. And
He said that for 20 years. He
yeah, I
didn't
did.
plan on being there
For
that long
20
for
years, I
20
kept saying I
years.
ain't gonna be here that much longer anyway. So, but
Now, Rick,
life shows up, doesn't it?
Rick,
Yes,
honey,
ma'am.
darling, are you saying that all husbands should listen to their wives about everything because they know more than the husbands do?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that.
Listen, this
I'd
is
honestly
why.
say because I have to give her kudos, and we don't know everything that we think we know. We just, everything that you were told as a little kid growing up. Yeah, leave that there.
All
Open
right.
your mind and listen.
Husbands, if you're watching this, Rick said so. And Rick is now retired in
I'm
Portugal
retired, living in Portugal.
with a life he never imagined years ago or dreamed but couldn't see a way to. And
Right.
then Halisi was like, we're gonna do this. And boom, bam. That's the short version of the story, y'all. I know we're gonna get into the longer one. So stick around. Okay, so Halisi says, quit playing with our money, right? Put it in the tax deferred account. You do that. And we're 2017. By 2020, you're paying off your debt. Stimulus checks came in 2020, not 2021, right? Like late 2020 is when they came.
One came
One-
pretty early in 2020. He
Okay.
got that stuff passed, yeah. I want to say like by summertime.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we hit 2000. I think I'm doing this right. 2008, 2011, 2014. We're at 2017. Now we're at 2020. Tell me about 2020. What's going on with the dreaming versus planning versus rest of our lives thing?
The pandemic.
Pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, it's interesting for something that was so tragic, and I lost family members and things like that. But it really was for our family transformational, both positive and negative. Like I saw a huge decline with my parents' cognitive abilities because of lack of stimulation, right? At the same time, I saw a huge change in my view of the world and how and where we were putting our priorities.
Mhm.
And then he got furloughed.
Mm-hmm.
So we had we have still a 3-level house. The bottom level is a basement, which he turned into his man cave. 85-inch TV like that.
85.
Rick, I don't know if you see it from where you were sitting, but the eye roll was very intense.
No, not an 85 inch. I asked for an 85 inch, but I
That
couldn't
thing
have it.
was like the
It was-
whole
It
wall.
was 65
It
inch.
seemed bigger than that. It was like a drive-in theater down there. Anyway,
And I got it for free.
yeah, we did get it for free. We got a lot of stuff for free. Anyway, so he's down there, and it was like a confluence of things. So 2018, we spent a month in Europe.
Mhm.
That was transformational.
Okay.
And so now we've been in Europe. We fell in love with Barcelona. Rick is down there in his man cave looking at apartments in Barcelona because this ain't it. um and
Real quick,
Go
the
ahead.
house is in Denver,
Yes.
yeah, we have a house in Denver and then this condo in LA.
but the
And
man cave is in Denver.
The man cave is in Denver. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And so so he's down there, and I had a big map of the world, and he's like, oh, what's right next to Spain?
I said, what's that little place next to Spain? In Portugal. And they don't teach you a whole lot about Portugal.
Sure
In
don't.
school, they teach you about Spain, but Portugal's just the other colored little country down there that nobody says anything about. So,
That lost their power.
yeah, and it was interesting. I said, so it's probably cheaper to live in Portugal than it is in Spain, but it's right next door.
So similar weather.
Similar weather. Everything is,
So what did you Google?
I Googled black people in Portugal.
And
That's-
Christina and Amon
Christina Amon came up, Art's Journey.
Okay.
And so that was the start. At the same time, my stepmother had come to a virtual event that I put on, and she called me after the event. She said, "Oh, sweetheart, that's a good event. Are you investing?"
Okay.
Just out of the blue. I don't know why. We have never talked about that. And she said, "Are you investing?" And I was like, well, I have my IRA because at the time my job didn't have a 401k. I have my IRA, blah, blah, whoop de woo. And Rick's got his. Of course, he's furloughed, so we can't put anything in it. And she's like, "Okay, that's nice, but over and above that."
Mm-hmm.
And so then she tells me her story to becoming self-sufficient. She don't want me to tell the number just in case any of her kids are watching. So anyway, where she got from broke to I don't have to work anymore. She gave me her story, and I was like, okay, so now I'm watching Our Rich Journey because he cajoled me into it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because it took a minute. You kept telling me about this
you
family.
weren't really interested.
I was like, look, I'm learning Spanish. We going to Mexico. We going to Colombia. We going to Costa Rica. We going to Spain. I'm learning Spanish. Why are you coming to me with this Portugal nonsense? So,
Which
finally I watched them.
Sorry, which one of you wanted to move abroad more, or do you think the desire was equal?
I think it was equal.
I think it was equal.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was coming from a little bit different place. Me not ever really feeling American. Him just liking adventure.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why this thing keeps doing this.
It's been doing. I don't know what's going on with this.
It's a new feature, and I have no idea how to turn it off.
When you do gestures.
Last week it was doing that for me too, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to stop it, but
I don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does, and not when I want it to either. When I'm trying to do it, it doesn't do it. But anyway, so I'm watching Our Rich Journey, and I'm just interested in the Portugal stuff. Now, mind you, my stepmother's saying, "You need to play catch up, Halisi. You don't have enough money to retire anytime soon, and you need to play catch up."
Okay.
And so, I tell her, "I want you to be my accountability partner and teach me what you know." She's like, "You're my only kid who's learning this." Meantime, in between time, I'm watching Our Rich Journey, not paying attention to FIRE whatsoever, because I pay my bills on time. I know about money.
You're out of debt.
Right? I'm out of debt. My bills are paid. What more could there possibly be? I want to know about Portugal. Stop talking about money.
When did that change for you?
I accidentally watched something that was in their playlist.
That did it.
And
that autoplay, huh? It'll get you every time.
Yeah, that did it.
I'm like, wait a minute. You mean there's a such thing like you don't have to work until 65? That's a thing? People like retire early? That's a thing? I had no idea. No idea. Mind you now, my stepmother, who could have retired, is 75 and still working. So yeah, that's what we do. Of course, she loves her job and it's easy and it's whatever, and she gets paid well, but this is what we do, right? We work. So then I started getting on the full FIRE as if we were not a couple of years away from Social Security.
Okay.
And so now it's still put off because I need $1.75 million for full FIRE. We have, now by this time, stuff is doubled in our retirement accounts and stuff, but we ain't at 1.25 or 1.75.
Okay. This 1.75 number is the number you had in your head back in 2020, 2021, or it's the number you have in your head now?
That was the number I had in 2020, 2021, based upon annual expenses times 25, right?
Annual expenses in Denver.
Yes. We were doing worst case scenario, just in case, even though by that time we were planning to get out of Dodge.
Okay. Now, 2020, 2021, do you guys mind sharing individually how old each of you were?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
56. Yeah. 56. So that means how old were you?
9 years older.
65.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the switch, the transition between I'm waiting on my pension and then we're gonna see what happens, right? To or I'm waiting on my pension and working forever. To this fire thing sounds interesting, and I now have a number in my mind that would let me stop working. What did that transition look like at 56 and 65?
It really, truly, truly, truly was like the rapture.
Okay. Walk me through that.
Right. Like, it was like the sky opened up and the angels were like, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like, this is a thing that you can retire and know that you're not gonna, what do people say? I don't want to end up homeless. They go from retire to homeless in a breath.
They go from I have a good paying job to homeless in half a breath.
Oh,
That
yeah.
Black people in America are number one fear, financial fear. And I'm not saying that's not a very valid fear, especially the way that houselessness is, I'm not going to say promoted, but the way it just seems in our communities that it's like, whatever, like it's just, and there's no real safety net for huge chunks of people. But it is the number. I talk to women all the time with very well-paying jobs with a lot of money saved, and the idea of not work, like their first thought is like, the day I stop collecting a paycheck, I will be on the streets.
I'll be on the streets. Right.
I will not have a home. And I'm like, well, what about those multiple commas that you have saved over here? And they're like, no. But what happens when the money's not coming? Because we're so used to the idea that like you have to work, you have to get. I don't think it's necessarily always money. It's some of it in our community and in America in general is like your value comes from work. So when you're not working, you're in a sense taking and not giving. And
Right.
the math doesn't math when you work it all out, but it's what's we've been programmed to believe. So
it is amazing. We did a video called Black Folks Are Quitting Jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right after you guys did Black Women Are Quitting Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, in the comments, so you quit your jobs and just go on welfare, you know?
No.
Yes. Just like your mama. Like, what are we? Your cousin down in the holler is getting like, let's not. But anyway, but yeah, no, the idea that like we have to prove our value by contributing and being visibly contributing, and the way so many people in our society don't want to take the risk. They're not going to stop working, but the idea that you might be able to stop working and have a good life is so offensive to them, right? It's very much crabs, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this generally about people in general, you know, like the idea that you, and sometimes it's real specific, right? Sometimes it might be someone in your life who's like, why do you get to do this, right? Like if I have to work hard every day, why do you get to live a life that seems easier? And because you do, here comes the hate. Here comes the dream of like,
I'm so selfish. Only care about money. Only care about Portugal. Only care, you know, because I'm not loaning you money. Because I'm not being a martyr.
Or everybody isn't as international as we are.
Worldly.
Worldly.
Yeah,
Take that back.
yeah,
Worldly.
we're worldly.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
very worldly.
You're so lucky.
So, I want to say something because you're asking what did it feel like when you realized, and I started thinking about the epiphany and the sky opening up and all of that stuff. But really, I'm gonna say something that I don't think I've ever said before. I think I've always thought I was kind of special,
Okay.
and I was going to live this enchanted special life
Uh-huh.
with absolutely, because I'm Princess Halisi. No idea how to get that special enchanted life,
Mm-hmm.
and the fire was the roadmap.
Okay.
Now, did that special enchanted life look exactly how I envisioned it when I was 6 years old, or
Mm-hmm.
16 years old, or 26 or 36? No. But that's okay because it still feels special to me and is in line with the enchantment that I envisioned for Princess Halisi.
Okay. When and there's something about like believing it's achievable that makes it easier, right? Like if you don't think like what they say, like before anyone ran on the mile under whatever, it just couldn't be done, and then someone did it and then everybody did it, right? Like if you don't
Right.
know it's possible, you will never work towards it. And so I get like when I post things, sometimes people come and they're like, oh, that's impossible, and I'm like, okay, well then, like, I'm telling you I did something and you're showing up saying it's impossible. It's always going to be impossible for you, right?
Right.
Until you open your mind to the idea that like other people doing things does not hurt you. It provides a roadmap.
Roadmap.
Right? It provides
Right.
it provides inspiration. If you see someone doing it, it's possible. I firmly believe, I will tell you this, but if someone on this planet can do it, I can do it. I can go to space. I can walk on the moon.
Yeah.
Anything someone else on this planet can do, I can do.
That's
Now,
right.
there's a little bit of delusion in that. Hello, right? But like, what's the difference between me and John Glenn?
What's the difference between me and Steph Curry? If he can dunk, I can dunk.
You can dunk. If you tried to dunk,
if I worked hard enough at it,
you could dunk. Now, your rim might have to be adjusted proportionately.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
I'm just saying proportionately. Like there's Steph's rim, and then maybe a little. Maybe we
I'm
make
only
it work.
5'4", right?
Maybe, right? But you can get as high in comparison as Steph gets if you practiced. There's nothing different.
That's
right?
That's the difference.
And okay, so now there are going to be like we all have different things and we all have different gifts. We all have different abilities. Yes, I'm never going to outswim Michael Phelps, but can I swim?
Exactly.
If that man can swim, even though he's half fish, we all know that man's body is half fish. If he can swim and do all that stuff, I can swim that many laps. Now, am I going to? I am not, right? And this, like I said, is a bit delusional, and it is based on a lot of privilege, like privilege in my body, privilege to have resources to get a rim that's lower, right? Like to do all of those things. But it's the delusion that keeps me moving forward. If someone else can do it on this planet, I can do it.
Right.
I can do it. Right. And for the people out there who are like, this will never happen for me, you got to get that delusion. Drink a little bit of delusion juice. Like that's the key to making it happen, is actually believing that it is possible for you. Because when you don't have that belief and you don't hold on to that belief, you're never going to make the moves to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
And try not to spend so much time with people telling what you can't do.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where we spend a lot of, not us, but that's where people spend a lot of time, is hearing somebody say, oh, you can't do that. This is why you can't do it. You can't be like Steph Curry because he's young and he's talented. And it's like, but he practiced every day to get to where he was. What was the thing you said about today's Beyonce.
Yeah, well, that was Stephanie Perry said that.
Oh, okay. Well, Stephanie said it. Sorry, Steph. But
2004 Beyonce was practicing for
yeah,
today's Beyonce.
right.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But
You
you
could
get
be Steph
there.
Curry in 20 years.
Yeah, you get there.
You get
You
there.
really get there.
And I think, I think you're right. It does take a bit of delusion, and me thinking that I'm exceptional and me thinking that I'm special is a delusion. It's totally a Halisi Vincent delusion that I embrace living in the world of Halisi, right? But but sometimes you need that to push forward,
Yes.
to press forward when it doesn't look like the things that you want are going to happen.
And if you think you can only, I'm not going to say if you think you're not special or if you don't think you're special. I'm going to say if you think you can't have something because the majority of the people around you don't have it, you'll never get it. Right? Like, so in some ways you have to think you're different, you're special, you're exceptional. Like you need it to happen, because otherwise you will live the very average life, the life of the people around you, because you don't think you can have anything differently. Baby.
Let me tell you. So between 1.75 million and today, 3 things happened.
All right.
Stephanie Perry, Rashida Dow, and Adelia Borshade. That's what happened.
Rashida Dow. No, I'm kidding. Right. So 2020, paid off our debt. We started talking about fire. I want to go back to our rich journey for a second. You started watching their videos because you wanted information on Portugal. But Rick, you were already on board with the investing stuff? Like investing outside, or?
I was playing around because I had a little time to look at the market and watch CNBC and trying to get an understanding about what was going on and stuff. But I hadn't really invested because I'm not going to do anything without us sitting down and talking about. I mean, we wouldn't spend over $100 on something without talking to each other about it. It was, this just what we did. But but she's the brains. I'm the brawn. She's the brain. So.
Yeah, he wasn't paying attention too much at that point either. They offered a fire masterclass, and we signed up.
Why? Why did you sign up?
Because I understood. One, because I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the major reason, right? And I understood the concept in general, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And I always say that I don't know what I don't know, so I'm gonna take the class. And you got 6 sessions to ask them questions.
Okay.
So that to me that's what I was paying for, and then we actually calendared and put time on our calendar to go over the course material.
Right.
So we actually sat down every Sunday at a designated time and went over the course materials together, so that we both understood what was going on. And once I understood the concept, it didn't take me long to understand the concept. It's like, duh.
Yeah.
That's what Grandmama was talking about. It is so simple, but we have gotten into this carry debt mentality and this that enslaves you to always having to work. And when Grandma used to say, live below your means, well, of course you live below your means, which just means you have money to pay your bills on time. It doesn't mean that you're saving and investing.
Right.
It does not mean that, because back in those days, they didn't have access to the stock market, right? So once
they barely had access to their own money, right?
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. I mean, my grandmother couldn't even open up her own bank account in those days. It was against the law. That's how far we've come. But once I understood the concept, it was no holds barred. And what I realized is, okay, they're coming from your point of view, Rashida, because in that you guys are basically around the same age and that far away from getting any kind of Social Security or anything else. So you can't count that into cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And they really, for a while, never talked about it. Never talked about a pension. Because they really mean retire like before you 40 years old. Well, it was already too late for me. Now, if I were 40, I would not necessarily count on a pension 22 years away. But when you're 57 and it's only 5 years away, it's like, okay, America's not going to go to shit that fast. It's going to go to shit. We know that.
Speed is a question at this point.
Right.
But you're right.
I don't think he can unravel it if he gets elected, unravel it that quickly, but he's going to unravel it. Believe me when I tell you, he's going to unravel it. Anybody who doesn't think so, y'all living in la la land. Y'all living in la la land. Y'all got to get out. Get out.
So you took Our Rich Journeys program, their FIRE program. And then you were like, let's back up a second. We talked about how in 2008 it was a dream, 2011 it was a dream, it still wasn't a plan. 2014, 2017, it sounds like it was still a dream. 2020 is when it sounds like it was starting to become a plan.
Yes.
Let's talk about the transition from dream to plan.
Okay. It was really, 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 because at the end of the day, for the majority of the people who watch us and who actually book time with us, it's always about the money. 10% of the time, it's about the logistics. They got the money figured out. It's about the logistics and, what's the difference between citizenship and visa and blah, 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 blah. But it's usually about the money. And so once we figured out the money, now we can make a plan, because now, okay, I can back up. If I say, and once I found the databases with the cost of living for cities around the world, all this information is out there. Yeah. So I was like, okay, now I can back into this. I know how much it costs to live in Denver. That was that number. But what would it look like if we lived someplace else? But we were still basing our FIRE number on Denver. So as we were looking at it and backing into that number, it was going to be 2025.
Okay.
That was the retirement date. And my ego said 2025, because you remember who I was when you met me. Mm-hmm. Crazy Halisi. And my ego said, I need to do this next step in my career before I step down, because I'm the Jeffersons and I have moved on up. And I need the final thing so I can feel like I have done the Black excellence thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, right? Yeah.
Running things.
As Gloria Vincent, my mama would say, she's out there running things.
All right.
So I had to reach that pinnacle. And then Rick came to me and said, we need to be out before the next election.
And that was in 2020, 2021?
21.
Okay. All right. 20. Now, Rick, why? There's an obvious answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Why did you say you needed to be out before the next election?
I used to be a concealed carrier. So I was around all the different groups, all the different, going to the... You're
going to have to explain what that is. Everybody doesn't know what a
concealed carrier is. You carry a license or a card from the state saying that you can carry a concealed weapon on you. And I went through the whole thing of, making sure I was legal and legit. My best friend was an ex-state trooper. So that kind of puts you in the world of going to the shooting ranges and following all the different things, following, things on YouTube, because you're trying to learn about that world and what's going on in this world. And I didn't like what I was seeing. I really didn't like what I was seeing. And the alarms were just going off all over the place. And then, of course, he gets in office and it was like, oh, this is going to get real, real interesting. And I don't want to be here anymore.
And then January 6th.
Happened. That was, you can almost read that in the cards on everything that I was saying. You could see that was coming.
Yeah.
Because, that person did not want, his whole thing is getting away with it. And doing whatever possible to get away with it. And if it means causing people harm, because he doesn't care about anything.
No, but himself. The ultimate narcissist.
And it was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, January 6th was it. And so when he came to me and said, let's get out before the next election, I was like, I feel you.
So I might have to give a point to Rick here. Ladies, I'm so sorry. But you worked in politics for a number of years, for a good chunk of your life, right?
Well,
And
basically, yeah.
you didn't get to, we need to get out before the next election before Rick got there.
Because my ego said I needed to be chair, not just executive director. I got to do this thing.
Okay.
And be that person that everybody, says, oh, alms.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, but when Rick said it, you were like, okay, maybe I don't need to be chair.
It was, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Now, y'all know, I don't mind breaking a couple up. At any point along this journey, did either one of you, if the other person needs to plug their ears, just tell them. We can have anybody leave the room at any time. They'll never watch the replay. But did you ever have a moment where it was like, if you're not going to take this action with me, I'll do it by myself? Was there ever that moment in this saga, this timeline, for either of you? No? All right, y'all.
No.
I tried. It didn't work.
Yeah, we were both totally bought in. Again, I never felt like a true American. I
Right.
never felt like I was being treated like a true American. So I'm out. Like, I'm good. So we were always pretty much on the same page as far as going. The where was a negotiation.
Okay. Give us some behind the scenes about negotiation. What were the pros and like? Let's rehash the whole thing.
It's me leaning back, acting like the Godfather, saying, "Convince me, convince me it's Portugal."
Okay.
Right.
And I really didn't know anything about Portugal. All I knew it was next to Spain
And the kids.
The kids, the weather, and different things that I was seeing that I liked. I wasn't looking at, oh, well, Portugal started the slave trade. It's like, yeah, but America keeps perpetuating the slave trade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are you talking about? But I wanted somewhere, and it seemed like it would be a softer landing in Portugal. And we wanted to have a backup too.
Yeah. So Mexico.
So Mexico was a backup.
Yeah. Yeah. Mexico's easy. Adelia convinced me to do that. And I think, I don't know. I don't know. I think the thing about Portugal, what I think the clincher was, because Spain was still on the table. Once I realized that we could afford Western Europe,
Mm-hmm.
we were on that side of the world. It
Okay.
was all over at that point. And so I think there was a pragmatic video that Christina Naman did that was comparing Spain to Portugal. And it was really about the healthcare system, the tax scheme, the ease to citizenship, all of those kinds of things. So that was the video that made me say, okay, let's put Portugal as number one before Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And
What?
then the Mexico thing, the proximity, it was like going down the street to go to the
Yes.
embassy and fill out the paperwork. And
It was easy.
everything took place within an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we were good to go with our visas in hand.
Okay.
And then you turned us on to Sonia Diaz. So that was
Yeah.
just a done deal. That was like easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Who I've never met. I got to meet this woman sometime. Next time I'm out her way, I need to actually say hello to her.
Yeah, we've all sent her a lot of business.
Yes.
No idea. Okay, so you have the idea. You land on Portugal. A minute ago, you said something about the kids, but I didn't get the.
We call
We
Christina
call Christina Mon our kids.
because they're young enough to
And
be
they
our
know
kids.
that we call them that.
Okay.
We call them,
All right.
you guys are our kids.
I didn't get the reference. Okay. So you guys have decided on Portugal. Let's talk about the money. So back in 2021, you said we need 1.75 million. We can retire after Halisi becomes chair and moves to the top spot. She takes the number one spot. We can retire.
HNIC.
And we have that 1.75 million, right? So we talked about how the chair thing moved to the side. Let's talk about how any transition with that number. Do you still think you need 1.75 million to be fully retired?
And not have any extra money coming in? Yes, kind of.
Okay.
You have icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Not to have the cake. Cake's
Cake's
baked.
fair.
Cake's
Yeah,
baked.
cake's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what had happened was between 1.75 and today,
Mhm.
I said was U3, right? And so it was several things. One is like, okay, so Rashida only had 685 at the time. How's that working? Like she didn't have the two. She was basically, you were the same age that Christina and Aman. They had, of course, they've had a full family, for 2 kids and the spouse. But there's a big difference between 2.5 million and 685, and yet she's living a life like I'd want to live. So what am I missing? So there was that piece, but then it was like, okay, if we can live for his Social Security within his Social Security, then everything that we have in savings can just stay and make money.
Make money, right?
So even without doing a side hustle, once we had 2 years living expenses saved in cash, plus our retirement accounts, I was like, I feel comfortable.
Okay.
We just have to live within we really truly have to stay on budget.
Okay.
And, and it's as simple as that. People are like, yeah, but what if something happens? That's what the 2 years living expenses is for.
Right.
I mean, $100,000 worth of bad stuff is only going to happen in the States with the healthcare system. We ain't in the States.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. We've talked a lot about your collective plan, but I want to dig a little deeper. Did you guys, for the majority of this experience, did you guys have the same money and financial philosophies and activities? Like, is one of y'all a spender? Who's the shopper? What's going on? Tell us. The shopper. All right. That's why I like Rick. All right. Let's go. Okay, but like,
baby, just get it. If you want it, get it.
Yeah. Because it's like, that's what, we go to work, we do this. If you want to get it.
Yes.
I don't know.
So when you're actively trying to save so you can retire early, how does having one person who is the spender work with a person who seems like they were more pushing the investing idea? How did that work in your relationship?
I think it worked fine. I wasn't against anything that she was trying to do.
Was she hating on you? You can tell me. Was she hating on your shopping?
No, I mean, she didn't.
No, I would talk some smack from time to time because Brother Man had more tennis shoes in every different color to match every single outfit.
Okay.
Well, what if you have an outfit and you don't have the shoes to match? Like, hello. Hello.
The yellow Nikes with the yellow Nike outfit, the red, okay. So, and all that can't fit in our apartment in Portugal. So he had to give some of that up.
Not all of it.
However, I think once we knew that this was possible, even my Nordstrom shoe thing, like
gone.
And I think the pandemic helped with a lot of that because, everything was shut down. During that time, we managed to save between 2019 and 2022. We managed to save about 6 figures. That's how much money we were wasting and didn't realize it. So once we only bought stuff that was going to help us with this transition, even with never making six figures, either one of us, it was like we saved that six figures like that.
Okay, I do want to point out how correct I was earlier when I said, once you know something is possible, you take the step. Like it's much easier to take the steps to make it happen. So once you saw that retirement was like, oh, we don't have to work until we're 75, right? We don't have to work until we have, 1.75 million saved. You start saving more, right?
Right.
You start saving more because you knew this thing is possible. I don't have to die at my desk. Let's make it happen. Let's cut back on some things, do whatever, make more money, spend less money, whatever it is, and actually save the money. But you never saved $100,000 so quick in your life, have you?
Ever. Like,
Ever.
You mean I could have been doing this all along?
Right.
Yes. Once you knew it was possible. All of you, I want you to hear this, everyone watching. Like, until you think it's possible, you will not do the things that make it possible, right? Because you don't believe you can have it.
Right.
Once you believe you can have it and it's within your grasp, right? Listen, everything I want is in my hand right now. I just got to, it's there. I got to accept it. I got to believe it. And I'll have it, right? Do the thing, right? And then
it happens.
It happens.
Yeah, she is speaking the truth. So I was looking in the chat. Yes, 1.75 million did not include Social Security. That was worst case scenario. But and the thing about it is, so we went over budget with the move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
We went over budget with the scouting trip.
Mm-hmm.
We went over budget our first year, not in Portugal per se, but because we ended up having to pay this mortgage longer than we expected. We didn't have full renters in our Denver place, like that, right? And so some of that savings was depleting. And then stuff happens and the money gets put back in there. This is what happens when you believe that this is what you are on the right path and you do what is put in front of you. I don't care if you call it God, if you call it manifestation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, money just kept being replenished.
We still have all that six figures in our savings account, even though we've been spending it on unforeseen things.
Mm-hmm. Now that 685 makes sense to you, doesn't it? Making sense.
Right. Like it started going down. We had a viral video. I don't know. I didn't have any control over that. It just happened.
It just happened. I will say that when I didn't really retire, I just knew that I couldn't go back to work. I wasn't like one day I am retired. It was like, if I walk in them people's office, it's not going to be good. It's never, I can't. I just don't see myself ever having to have a work badge again or to clock in or do. The minute someone looks at me sideways about some BS. And part of my problem personally was that in most of my career, I was incentivized in a way that I was incentivized to take actions that were directly opposed to how other people in the company were incentivized. That's just my role as a lawyer I was in my practice. That is the role I was. Y'all want to write this marketing, you want to create this ad, but baby, it's going to sell, it's going to sell 40,000 cars the minute you put it out there. But let me tell you why you can't. Because it's illegal. And so now you're not selling these cars, right? Like you're incentivized to do something. And I'm incentivized to tell you, slow down, baby, you can't do that. Which means that every day it was constant arguing. And the idea of going back. And so I don't argue with people. I'm about to be like, okay, you're wrong. I've put it in writing. God bless. And they hate that. They hate that, right? They want to be like that. You want me to acquiesce to you. You want me to tell you, oh no, there's no danger there. There's nothing wrong. Go do it. And so having a lifetime of work for someone who does not argue with people, most of the time I don't argue because I don't really care what you think, because I probably don't care about you. You know what I mean? If I if I don't, especially I like people online, people in the comment sections, I didn't know you were alive 13 seconds ago. Like, why would I be arguing with you? Why? Hello.
Yep.
I don't know you. I don't care what you think. And I'm probably not going to change your mind here. So we're just going to go back and forth.
And you certainly aren't going to change mine.
We're not doing this, right? Okay. But like, as a lawyer with my job, because it was like people want to argue with me all day and assume that I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I'm the only one in the room that knows what they're talking about, right? Like, it just wasn't a career that I could go back to after not doing it for a while. Like, what I had to do in my career was directly opposed to who I am as a human. We're going to sit in this we don't have 3 meetings about the thing that I can show you on paper is legal, but you're going to tell me you interpret the law differently, but you're not a lawyer. Like,
I'm sorry.
Is it your dick that gives you more authority about the law than I don't, like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I don't So having those moments of like knowing that I couldn't go back, literally that was it for me. It wasn't like I'm retired. It was like, I have this money. When the money runs out, maybe I work at Kmart. I don't know. Like, or maybe the money won't run out. Right. And I left in 2018 and the market was doing really well. And then 2020, 2021, we know it was playing some 2022. There were some games being played.
Yes.
Games being played. But this last year, I'm up 30%.
Made up a lot.
I'm up 30% in a year.
Yeah. And
like, I'm not counting the other work I do. I made in the market it's still sitting there. It could go away next year. I don't know, whatever. But I made in the market what I would have as a lawyer in a year, the same amount of money by doing nothing. And I'm like, and back when I was a lawyer, I wasn't investing in the way that I'm investing now because I had shoes to buy. Like, I was stressed. So I had to go to Nordstrom. I had to go and have a cocktail because I wasn't right. Like, I needed to happy hour because otherwise how would I make it through this week?
Exactly.
But like like you said, the money always comes. And I know someone is like, that's not me. And I'm like, and until you tell yourself the money will always come. You gotta have the faith first. The money will always come.
Yeah.
The money will always come. It really will. Like right now, we are rehabbing this condo so that we can rent it out.
Mm-hmm.
Redoing the floors, countertops, all that stuff. Y'all know how much that stuff costs. And we're in LA.
Yeah.
So that's going to take a chunk out of our money. And, it's interesting because as soon as I started getting the bids, the Black folks quitting their jobs video started going viral.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I started getting bids, a video goes viral. And is starting to make up for the money that we are spending.
My investment account, without putting much more in, I contribute, but not that much right now, is so much larger than it was. And I was featured in a CNBC video, and the people in the comments were like, "You're going to go broke. You're gonna use all your money. You're gonna use all your money. You're gonna use all your money."
Yep.
I have more money now than I did back then. A lot more money than I did back then. The market's gonna do what the market does. I'm gonna write it out, right? Yeah. But it goes back to what I said in the beginning. People who don't think it can happen for them don't want to see it happen for you. They don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. Because then they have to look at themselves and say, okay, so why didn't I make this happen for myself? Right. It's more comfortable to wish you poorly so that they can be comfortable in the bad decisions that they're making.
Mm-mm. Now
right?
They need to be delusional about something, but not my life. You don't need to be delusional about my life.
Right?
I'm over here living good, right? Like, be delusional about something in Delulu should be about your path, right? We're gonna put them blinders on like the racehorses. Keep your eye on your lane, right? Be Delulu about something in your own life, not other people's lives. Don't be out here wishing people the worst.
And words are powerful. I truly, truly believe words are powerful. And sometimes they are the result of feelings, and sometimes they can create feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you say it, it's true. But don't be trying to curse me with your words. Talking about you'll see and this is gonna happen and trying to curse me. Look, I rebuke it. Yeah. Don't make me go back to church.
It's a reminder of a time that like you're unhappy. You are unhappy and you need more love in your life, because why would you, like, I've said this before, but like, if I go broke, if I have $0 in the stock market, there's a significantly larger problem in the world than me going broke, right? Like, if I've lost all the money, like, you can say you're going to go broke, but baby, if I go broke, you are negative broke. Like, you are, right? Like,
it is the zombie apocalypse.
It's the zombie apocalypse. If I have no money based on what I've put in the stock market and where it is, if you're Tane, you're just gonna go broke. If I go broke, baby,
you know that
we're not using money anymore. We're using twigs and berries as currency. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So maybe don't wish that on me, because you're not gonna like it either.
Right.
I will have more twigs and berries than you do. Don't play me. Like, we're not.
Yeah.
It's not a race unless you want it to be. What are we doing? It's very much like, if you see it, you can choose to believe it, right? And I want people around me who choose to believe it, who choose to say, okay, if she can do it, if they can do it, I can do it too, right?
That's right. That's right.
Now, speaking of that, let's transition a bit. Let's talk about your YouTube channel.
Let's.
All right. Who decided? I'm playing a competition of like, okay, it's Halisi. Listen, Rick, Halisi is kind of winning today. You didn't know it was a race, but now it is one. And Halisi is like a little bit ahead.
I'm a Leo. Look, everything's a competition.
Rick, what's your sign?
Libra.
Okay. All right.
Fire and air.
I'll make a note. All right. Okay, so it was Halisi's idea to make a YouTube channel. I can't remember. Did the channel start before you moved to Portugal or after?
Before.
Okay.
We launched March 20th, 2022.
Okay. Now, what inspired you to create your YouTube channel?
Okay. I'm going to give the answer that people want to hear.
Okay.
So we had, the dream of the Winnebago, making the documentaries, so basically we're talking about, creating content, whether it's creating content for the theater or creating content for the internet, it's creating content. So, okay. So we're already halfway there. So YouTube seems like a natural modern transition from the documentary to YouTube. Okay. So that's the answer that everybody wants to hear. Now, the truth of the matter is, why did we start it then at that moment? What's baby girl's name? Kelly Stamps. Okay.
Wow. Delusional. All right.
Honey, Kelly Stamps. I don't know why YouTube fed me Kelly Stamps. She is younger than my youngest. She's a cutie. She came up and she did a video on how much she makes on YouTube. I was like, wait, you make what? She was making $40,000 a month at the time. She was making $40,000 a month. Y'all hear me? I was like, okay, well, let's see. And how many subscribers? Okay, so if I divide that, then that means by the time we could be making, and this is going to show up at 1.75 million. And just in case, Trump gets reelected, blah, blah, whoop-de-whoop, right? So, so there was that. And then of course, Stephanie had some content about YouTube and clients and this and that. And I've always been entrepreneurial. We've always had a side hustle, always. But we've made more money in the last year after taking Get Your First 3 Clients or I should say easier money. Get Your First 3 Clients and the YouTube challenge, Stephanie's YouTube challenge, than we have in the prior 18 years of having a side hustle. I was underpricing myself all along, undervaluing what we were bringing to the table all along. And then after taking those 2 courses, we have done, when I think about, having my own business and what I did, and it's a piece of what we're doing now, I probably do a 20% of the work for about double the money.
And people hate hearing that. People hate hearing that. But that's not a me problem. That's a you problem. I dropped the link to Stephanie's YouTube challenge in the comments. Get Your Next 3 Clients is a Exodus Summit challenge that we only share within the Exodus Summit Facebook group. I don't know. We don't have a plan of when we're going to do it this year. But we'll tell you guys in February sometime when we're doing it.
Yeah.
But yes, Stephanie's YouTube channel challenge helped my YouTube channel. It helped everyone I know who's done it and has taken action, has really seen progress in their YouTube channel. Challenge and channel in the same word should not be allowed. Should not be allowed.
I mean,
all right.
Seriously, no joke, you guys. And don't wait. Don't say I'll do it next time, because next time is going to be double the price, and then you're going to be pissed off. I'm so glad I took it when I did, because I think it was under $150 for Get Your Next 3. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all, yesterday's price, today's price. Look, it's worth it regardless.
So yeah, we'll talk about when we do that again. If we're gonna do it again, we don't know.
You have to do it again. There's more women who need to learn.
Yes, and they don't necessarily need to learn from us. Right? Because when something isn't, it's not 20% of the energy, right? It's not 20% of the energy for double the money. It is 100% of the energy, 150% of the energy for half the money. But because women really liked it, we continue to do it. But we've gotten to a point now where it's like, it's really helpful, but we're not the only coaches who teach similar things. So maybe we'll see if we can find a way to make it evergreen. I don't know. But
I think you should, because as I went to business school, right? I got my master's in business, and here's the thing, guys. Like, I can't say that you taught me anything that I didn't already know, but you put it in a way that was so much more practical.
We're practical people. All right.
And easy to execute.
Yay. And now look at her.
Ta-da!
Okay. Let's talk about YouTube virality and what that experience is like.
Good and bad. Good and bad.
Hold on. I need to hear from Rick. Has he made a little face you didn't see?
I didn't see. I was looking at you.
Trying to catch lightning in a bottle?
Yeah.
Trying to catch lightning in a bottle to get viral, but what about being viral?
Being viral is great. I mean, it just catches you off guard. It takes your breath away, and it's like, oh my God. And you see numbers ticking up and ticking up and ticking up. And it's like, well, the first one that went viral, and it's like, is this going to stop? Of course, with going viral brings out
the crazies,
the craze. And, you get a lot of more people, but you get some real crazy people, some real crazy comments.
Yeah.
But I'll go going viral, to get the numbers and everything else that you want to achieve. But
everybody talks about going viral, and to me, I have not figured out the formula. I have not figured out the formula. The first time we did was when you were in Portugal, actually, and Adelia had been there the month before. The virality, is that a word, lasted for about 2 months.
Yeah.
It was a long period of time. So when Adelia came for the meetups in April, it had just started. And she said, don't stop posting. She said, I did, and YouTube has been punishing me ever since.
Right.
And we had all this stuff going on. We had 2 meetups and this and that and the other. And so it was an effort to stay consistent during that time. But that one video was a repurposed video. I had cut a piece off of one of our 2-hour marathons, cut a piece off of it and re-released it as a upload. And it went viral.
Off. Yeah.
And even today, it still keeps ticking back up. So it's almost got 600,000 views.
Oh, wow.
And that took us from having 7,000 to 8,000 subscribers to like 18,000 to 20,000 subscribers.
20,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that changed the dynamic. But yeah, again, a lot of haters came out with that. And if you're going to do YouTube, that's just the thing you have to know. You have to develop somewhat of a thick skin because people think they know you and they're going to talk crap.
Yeah, they do.
How thick is your skin?
Thicker on some days than it is on others. Look, if you catch me on the wrong day, because I answer most of the comments. Rick fills in, but I answer like 80 to 90% of them.
She'll go, and it's like, well, one day you're not going to be able to do that.
There will come a time when I can't answer. My philosophy is shake every hand. That's what I did when I ran for office. Shake every hand. So I try to answer every single comment. Right now, I'm like 3 or 4 days behind. Usually, I'm not behind at all. And I think that's part of the reason why we're at wherever we're at now, because I have engaged with the audience and tried to answer every question or make a comment on every comment. But some of these folks think that they have a right to tell you how you are supposed to live. And we did a video about who you're going to take with you on your journey to fire and who you're not. And so you guys have these people in your family.
Yeah, some people just ain't meant to go on that journey with you.
Exactly.
They're really not.
These people, it's like, you some fat boy down in your mama's basement talking all this yakety smackety, click, click, clacking, telling me how I'm supposed to live, or why don't you shut up and let your husband talk?
Why don't you shut up and let your husband talk?
I'm the talker. Interestingly.
Because there would be no channel without you, right?
She's a talker.
There'd be no
right? Like Ed McMahon, Johnny Carson. He's the one who gave that analogy. But interestingly, in person, he's the talker.
I'm trying to remember if that's true. Rick, is that true, or is she lying on you?
No, I am.
Okay, do y'all see me working hard to find like little seeds of discontent? And they out here solidly as a team?
Did I tell you this is not our first marriage?
Yeah, this isn't the first rodeo, as they say. It's we became friends. We were friends for like 5 years
before we got together.
Before we ever got together, we used to just go out and do projects together and hang out. And just getting to know each other.
So I think that's one of the things. The other thing is once you realize a relationship is not a power struggle. So many folks get into relationships and it's a power struggle, and both people are trying to just get the other person to acquiesce. I don't care if it's how the toilet paper should be put on the toilet paper roll or how we're going to handle our finances.
Which can drive you crazy because it's not supposed to be reversed.
No, it's supposed to be under. It's not supposed to be over.
Okay, I mean if anything, that's what it'd be switching the toilet paper around.
We have had conversations,
and we laugh at each other about this.
About the toilet paper.
Go to a hotel and see how the toilet paper is put on the roll.
Okay, so randomly, but this might be a marriage saver. My toilet paper roll is vertical, not horizontal. It's a thingy. So there's really no like
so
good
not
or bad.
Under.
No, it's sideways.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
So if you ever need to replace a toilet paper thingy, maybe you look for a vertical one.
Right. And then we don't have to have that discussion.
You don't have that argument.
I just flip it around.
Every time you go to the bathroom, the toilet paper moves.
Yeah. But seriously, like if you're doing this thing with a partner, you have to get into the mindset that it really is a team effort and that there's not a power struggle.
Okay.
Everybody's got their role. And as long as you guys are both on the same page with that, then you don't have to worry.
All right. Now, Team Over is coming in hard. We didn't ask, but they are strong in the comments. Team Over.
I see Lamazzini saying something about Team Over.
Team Over. Midlife. The toilet paper is supposed to be over, they say, not under. So strong.
There's one for Rick. There's one for Rick. Look.
I'm only seeing over.
Oh,
anyway.
Oh, that's funny.
That's how they do it in the hotel?
It's over.
Oh, there's an under. There's an under. So Rick is over, Halisi's under. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rick scores a point. He's catching up with Halisi in this race. Oh, another under. They're coming out. All right.
That's hilarious.
Don't defy me.
So, and Gloria Vincent says it's under as well.
Okay.
My mama said.
So you learned wrong. You grew up in a household that didn't know how to. So it's not your fault.
Well, it's not my fault.
It's not your fault. You just grew up.
I had dysfunctional toilet paper family.
And Lamar says Angela's an under, but he still loves her.
Oh,
you're a good man, Lamar.
He's a good man.
We're going to be sharing space with Angela and Lamar in South Africa.
Yeah, we'll be in South Africa.
Okay, so I realized yesterday that I have no idea who's going to be with us in South Africa. I literally have no idea. I need to look at who actually has tickets and who is still coming, because I have Exodus Summit, if you don't know, is going to South Africa in
a few weeks.
February. I've already started packing. So I know when it is, but it's also kind of blurry. And there's so many people that every time I hear you're coming, I'm very excited, but I did not know you guys were going to be in South Africa.
Yeah, at first I said we were coming to crash, and you're like, okay, I don't know what's coming. You're coming to crash. Because before I got a ticket, so a friend of mine couldn't come, so I bought her ticket from her. But before I got a ticket, we were just going to come. Mm-hmm. And there's 100 Black women from Exodus Summit going to be there. We're going to be there too. And I have family there. And then I have friends there from when we spent that first trip. So that first trip that we went back in 2008 for a month, I was actually teaching entrepreneurship to kids there. Okay. And so some of my fellow teachers and stuff, we've reconnected. Well, I never lost contact with them on Facebook.
The kids grew up and we stayed in touch with them.
Yeah, kids grew up, stayed in contact with them. So hopefully we'll get to see all of them when we are in Cape Town. Okay. So looking forward to that. But now I have a ticket, so I guess I'm be hanging out with y'all too.
Hang out with
us. And Angela and Lamar, and we are sharing Airbnb down the street from the hotel.
Nice. So we will see. Maybe we'll see you, Rick. You can come drop her off at some event. Men are allowed. Men and children are not allowed at these events. It's women only. But I'd love to see you. Now I know. Okay, so here's the thing. Now I know I'm going to see you because I know my mama's going to be like, "Well, where Rick at?" Well, I haven't seen Rick yet. So So I know at some point we will actually be connecting. So I'm excited about that. Definitely with Lamar too, because he's one of my favorites as well. All the good guys are coming. Yay.
Right.
Okay. So last year, the men who came, very lovely. but they were like right outside trying to. What y'all doing?
Really?
Looking in the window.
Oh wow.
Y'all want us to come DJ? Y'all need security? We're not doing that, Rick. Y'all need to go find some business of your own.
You don't have to worry about me trying to peep in windows and find out
All
what
right.
y'all
At
doing.
least they were trying to be of service.
They were. No. They were great. This is not me
You
saying
need
no.
to-
They were very.
You need us to serve you some drinks, ladies.
They
We
didn't
will
say all
serve you
that.
drinks.
They didn't say all that.
Let's put on some togas and serve us some drinks.
That is not what happened.
Oh, okay.
But they were very, very lovely. They were fun. They were fun. They just, I think at least one of them thought it was like no men allowed was like kind of a joke. Like they don't really mean it. No, seriously.
That's
No,
just
they
a
mean it.
suggestion. That's not really the rule.
You're gonna be outside. Love you, meet it, but from a distance.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see you guys there. I did not realize you were coming.
Yeah. We're going to be there. So when we started YouTube, back to YouTube, somebody didn't want to do it. Somebody, after I took the Get Your Next 3 Clients, and so I'm trying to figure this out. Remember, because I asked you about 2 YouTube channels and all of this, and you and Stephanie were like, "Oh heck no!"
Halisi is team too much. When I met her and Get Your Next 3 Client Challenge, I was like, I didn't say it, but in my head, I'm like, that's an intense woman. That's an intense woman. Now I feel like you've mellowed a bit since then, because that was what 2021 maybe.
Mm-hmm. Or early, very, very early 2022. First, like January 2022. Yeah.
Okay. You've mellowed a bit.
Yeah.
And
I was crazy in those days.
But you're not doing. And it was. I can't talk about this publicly because of the work I do. But I'm getting ready to go, and I'm doing all of these, and I was like, maybe you take a little nap. I don't know what's going on. So you started with, what were your 2 YouTube channel ideas?
So the first one was going to be just me, and talking about being a sandwich generation and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because that I was going through it, still going through it, but I was really going through it in those days. 70 hours a week working and trying to take care of my dad. That was it was hard. It was rough. Trying to be the mostest. So I was going to talk about that. And then we were going to talk about the money, the moving, the travel that we're doing now.
Okay.
And you and Stephanie were like, girlfriend, you ain't got 1 channel and you talking about 2? Slow your roll. Start with 1. And then you said, okay, so your last day working was what day? Okay, so I expect you to be putting out a video within.
What is that? What are you doing?
That's me imitating you.
What is that? Rick, could you ask your wife to leave the room, please?
And I expect you.
What's happening?
To put out a video within 3 weeks of your last day of working or whatever.
That's plenty of time.
And it was plenty of time. And I took you seriously. And so my last day was March 1st. We launched March 20th.
Yay. Within 3 weeks. Y'all, I'm the queen of good advice. You don't have to listen to me, but I know what I'm talking about. Look at this. And your channel is grown. You've surpassed me, and my channel is years older than yours.
So have we?
Yes. I just checked because I was like, how much have they grown? Because every time I see you, you're growing so fast. So when you talk about going viral, you have more subscribers than I do. And my channel is years older than yours.
That's because we learned from you.
Yeah.
And I don't follow my own advice.
We learned from you.
Yes, you follow good advice. I don't do that. So, but I'm really happy for you guys, how it's grown. How has it made a difference in the life you're living today?
There's no comparison. There is no comparison. And it's interesting because someone asked us on a Ask Anything, what kind of community would you have if you didn't have a YouTube channel? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, thankfully, Heather has done a really good job with Black in Portugal. And Heather,
Black in Portugal, the founder of Black in Portugal. The Facebook
the Facebook group, or one of the founders. She's carrying it on by herself right now. And I would say our early friends, all of them came through meeting them at meetups through Black in Portugal.
Yes.
So that, right? Like
Yeah.
our foundation, our landing crew, what we met through there. But like, we have friends all over the world.
All over the world.
People who we have connected with. I'm not going to call them friends. I'm going to call them close acquaintances. You know, people that I know I'd want to hang out with when I'm on their side of the world. So that's one thing. I think that it has brought us closer together because we work together, we live together.
Okay.
Right. And so we've had to have some adjustments on how we relate to each other now. We did a side hustle before, but that was project by project by project. Right. We get a project, we come together, we do the project, we get paid. Mm-hmm. And then we go back to work. And then I find another project, or he finds another project. We do the project. Right?
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't.
That's how we did our stuff.
Didn't have that personal.
Didn't have the personal touch. No, and they were one-offs. So, you know, it was feast or famine, and we still went to work. But now it's working together all the time and living together and everything else. And so I think we've had to adjust the way we relate to each other and find new habits. So that has been eye-opening. Mm-hmm. Now, when we first started, he's like, oh, no, I'm not doing the YouTube channel. This is just going to be you.
Yeah, that's going to be the behind-the-scenes person.
Because you do some video stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what he used to do for a living. I did too. I came from the entertainment industry, but we did video production together. He did that for a living when we were together. But I said, okay, you're not going to be in it? I started reworking the whole strategy and what our hook is going to be. And okay, so Our BlackUtopia, maybe I'm changing the title. He didn't want to do Our BlackUtopia. He's like, we're going to put black in it. I'm like, I'm black, y'all. I'm black, y'all.
Well, my fear was, well, if we say it's Our BlackUtopia, isn't that going to limit our audience? And then when she told me, it made all the sense in the world.
Niche down until it hurts.
We are for Black people. We are Black, trying to help Black. So, would you want to put in Our White Utopia to bring more? But so it just made all the sense in the world.
Well, one of the reasons why work was so miserable was not because for the majority of the case, not all the time, not because of people who look like us. It was because of Karens and Chads.
Right.
So why would I want to deal with them after the W-2 experience?
I also think that identifying clearly who your audience is doesn't chase away people who understand the experience or what you're doing.
Right.
Like, whenever someone shows up complaining about me talking to Black people or to women, I'm like, there is a 99.9% chance you're racist or sexist. Because like, otherwise, wouldn't you just be like, okay, bye, right? Like, it's either like, I can watch this because this advice is applicable. She's saying Black, but it's applicable to everyone. Right? They're saying Our BlackUtopia, but I want to learn how to retire early and move to Portugal, and they have the information, so I'm gonna watch it anyway, right? Because you don't start your videos with, if you're not Black, turn it off now, right? Like anyone can watch. But if me saying this is for Black people offends you so much, you need to say something. You don't like Black people. Like I firmly believe that you don't like Black people. If me saying,
right,
I do this work for Black people, you don't want us to have what I'm talking about. You don't want us to retire early. You don't want us to move to Mexico or Portugal. You don't want us to.
Exactly. Right. Not only do you not like Black people, but you are in full flight from reality, because what you are saying is racism doesn't exist. So you're in full flight from reality and you don't like us. And you're in full flight probably because you don't like us and you don't want to admit that you're racist yourself.
Mm-hmm. I will say that for the supporters and the clients that I've had that are not Black women, I don't think I've ever been paid by a Black man, like to do a service ever. They just, no. Okay. I do my work for Black women. It's not a big deal. White, queer women show up and support. Okay. And like, there's something there about understanding that while a space may not be built for you, we've been outsiders our whole life, right? And so that you, right, like understanding that most spaces aren't built for us. And if you want this information, you don't get it from somewhere is, I think, an experience that they understand. Black men, I don't think I've ever been, no, I have a Black couple. And I think he was pushing it forward, a Black couple. That's the only time. Okay. But like a straight by himself Black man, no one-on-ones over here, no, nothing. But that's okay with me because I say who I am for Black women all day long. And that means that my community is like 95% Black women, right? And I love that for me. It's very exciting. It's very nice.
After years and years and years of dealing with having to work with whomever is hired, it's nice to for the most part only work with people that you want to work with. We do have non-Black clients, but they're usually from our other life.
Okay.
So they already know us.
Okay.
And so, and interestingly enough, we've only had one male. We've had lots of males with their partners, wives, girlfriend, but only one male who was, he had a partner, but they weren't on the call with him.
Right. Yeah.
One. Yeah. What is with the men?
So maybe I'm not getting the men not because they don't want to work with me. Although every once in a while I'll get a man be like, why aren't you helping men? And I'm like, well, here's how to work with me. And they're like, nah, I ain't paying you. Okay. Right. All right. Solve that mystery. You want free labor from someone because you think women should provide free labor to you. Okay. All right. But maybe some part of what's going on is that men aren't making this move or pushing it forward as often as women are. Right.
I think that's the case.
So
9 times out of 10, if there's a reluctant partner, it's the male, the male spouse or the male partner. 9 times out of 10.
They, and everybody we've talked to that have actually spent time with bringing their husbands with them or something, visiting Portugal. It's, can you just convince my husband?
Yeah.
You know, he just needs to see you. I mean, it's like, I feel like a zoo animal sometimes, not in a bad way.
But you out like a man.
Oh my God. Exactly. There's a Rick. He's in the cage. I see he's real and he's thriving. But then I've had women actually pull me to the side and cry on my shoulder saying, thank you. Aww. Because you made my dream come true. You made my husband see what is possible.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel like a zoo animal then.
Good. You're just a wet shoulder at that point.
Just a wet shoulder.
Wet shoulder. What have been some techniques you've seen without trotting out a zoo animal, which if that's in your arsenal, use it, right? But what have been some techniques you've seen women use to get their partners on board?
By the time they come to us, usually it is dragging them to talk to us.
Okay. So talking to you guys makes it a little bit more palatable.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think, I really think that it's so funny. People watch us on YouTube, and I don't think the person who finds us, it's all good. The other person that gets dragged along think that we've probably been doing this for like 5 years and we're just putting on airs and exaggerating and, like we're TV personalities and it's all scripted as opposed to just real people sharing our experiences. And then when they have the one-on-one and they talk to us and they're like, oh, you just like on the YouTube videos, like we just us.
We're just us.
We just us. This is right. And
every time someone says that to me, I'm like, well, what did you expect? What did you think it was? It's just like, this is who I am. Like,
Yeah.
It's what you're gonna get on a one-on-one because it's who I am all the time. I think people have a really an idea that like we show up and either like we're making things up for some people, or or this is not who we are. We're gonna be completely different in a one-on-one or like in any experience. So I'm like, listen, I have to get my mind right before I come live on a Sunday morning because it takes energy. If you catch me in the streets on a low energy day, I might be a different person, right? I might be, but not like my personality hasn't changed, right? It's my capacity, right? In that moment,
energy. Yes.
Right.
So, but yeah, like I think most of us are the same person because who's got the energy to fake it? Old and tired. Like I don't have it.
No. I mean, I will fake it sometimes in that sometimes I'll just be tired and I have to come on and just pretend like I have energy. But as far as the values go, no.
Same.
We just usses. We're just usses. And so I think that once they get past that othering, because you are they some people watch us on the big TV, which makes us seem like we're really doing something doing something on these YouTubes, once they get past that, then they're like, okay, normal people, started late, don't have everything all together, figured it out, got it done, and it's been almost 2 years now. They're not homeless. So it can be done.
Not living in fear,
Yeah, but I'm gonna put him on the spot. So Rick, when I said, okay, I'll do this YouTube without you, why'd you change your mind?
I didn't want you to have to, put it all together and show up every week by yourself.
Thank you, sweetie.
So yeah.
Once I said, "Oh, you don't want to be a part of it," all right, let me.
She got the right. She wrote me out of the script. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, time out. Hold up, that's my computer."
A couple more times.
Like I wanted you to beg me. I was like, I'm yet to get a full accounting of how he went from 0 to I'm in.
She's not going to get
in
it.
2 minutes.
Can we get it? If we ask her to leave the room, Rick, can we get it?
No, I wanted to do something together. I think I was scared.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was going to say, how I was going to say it, when I was going to say it. And I just was nervous, even though I spent a good portion of my life on stage.
Yeah, he's a professional singer for 20 years now.
Wait,
yeah, open for people like Prince and all these other people.
Yeah,
so that didn't make any sense. The stage frightness thing did not make any sense to me.
I know, but it was just that thing, and I had gotten away from it and not done it in so long. It's like, okay, and she's a personality. She worked in the industry, so
no more than he did.
No more than I did, but in a different capacity. So.
Yeah, but I mean, he had a recording contract. I never got in front of the camera that big, so it didn't make sense.
All right. Well, now we know that in South Africa, we're going to have to hear Rick's voice.
Oh, Lord.
Like, bring the microphone, baby, because you're going to have not a lot.
Maybe after the wine tour.
Maybe after you're going to have, I need to hear it, Rick. Everybody doesn't have to be there, but I am saying, I'm laying claim to the fact that I need to hear Rick sing. Everybody in the comments is like, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
nobody knows Rick sings.
As a matter of fact, if you look at our early shorts, like one of the ones with Black in Portugal, I have a clip of him singing.
Oh, Lord.
Yep. I think you were singing Chocolate Girl.
Yeah.
Now, and don't you know, Rashida, so we're at this meetup, this karaoke meetup. He's singing Chocolate Girl. And some woman from over there with the low cut, and she comes up in his face. I'm like, wait, what's going on here?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
He wasn't singing Chocolate Girl to you, Chocolate Woman. that song was for me. Do you know what I had to go through to get this song? No. Back up.
All right.
Can we have an encore?
No. Well, I might ask for an encore, but I won't be doing this.
You won't be putting the girls in his face. Like, and can you remove them girls from his chin, please?
Please move it to the back of the room. Okay, so Ric's singing brings the girls to the yard, is what I'm hearing. That's what
They used to throw the panties on the stage back in the day.
Okay, y'all, we are recording this. Ric is gonna say evidence.
See, now I'm just totally embarrassed.
He's turning red.
We will make sure no panties make it on the stage, but we definitely need to hear Ric sing.
That's what used to happen back in the day. You know, that's why they used to say, "I was fine back in the day."
That was Prince.
All right, now. All right, so they're asking what name you sang under. What's your stage name?
We had a group called The Gentlemen. We signed with RCA Records back in the day, about the same time as the Evelyn Champagne King when she got dropped. But our stuff never got dropped. We got caught up in management,
a regime change,
producer craziness.
This is what they do in the industry, and they shelve the album. They spend all of this money.
We weren't cooperative, so they shelved our album because we said no, we're not doing that. And it's a whole big story. Had to go to court and everything else behind it. Ooh. People went to jail behind it. I'll put it that way.
That was typical in those days. I'm going to tell you, the internet changed all of that. They can't run roughshod like they could back in the day when they owned all the distribution mechanisms. But now, like, YouTube has democratized the entertainment industry.
But I had the pleasure of working with a lot of people, Prince and Shaka Khan, and opening shows up for all kind of different people and stuff like that. Even had a chance to work with the Jacksons on their Destiny tour.
Oh, wow. So Auntie Lou is suggesting Big Ric and the Ricettes. So you want to again. I feel like we need some backup singers.
I can do WAP. I can do WAP.
Okay. All right.
Woo! I can do WAP. From the 5 Heartbeats. Red from the 5 Heartbeats. Oh my God.
Yeah, we had one of those.
That is so funny.
Red was the manager.
Oh,
in the 5 Heartbeats, hung the guy out the window.
Okay.
Yeah, we had one of those Reds.
All right.
But he threatened to shoot us. He didn't threaten to hang us out the window.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
but you made it to the other side.
We made it to the other side. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Crystal says, so what y'all are saying is that Ric is a legend. The first man to come on my channel.
Oh, yeah.
From that standpoint?
Yes, that standpoint. Yeah.
You knew I was going to bring, it wasn't just going to be anybody. It wasn't just, now I didn't know any of this information, y'all. I knew none of it, but.
No, she didn't. And it blew me away when I got the email. I was like, oh my God, okay, did somebody check her temperature? Because she invited me on her channel. And I feel so privileged and blessed. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. It took a while because I was like, literally, I was like, I can't have Halisi without Ric, so I can't have Halisi. Like, I didn't want to just invite Halisi, but I was like, there are no men on this channel. And then finally I was like, well, why does it have to be like that? Right? Why does it have? It doesn't have to be like
your channel, your rules.
It's my rules. And it wasn't ever like I don't want to have. I think because it's built for women, I just naturally have women, right? And then I was like, but Ric is great, and women like him. So I didn't realize how much they like. I didn't realize they were panty throwing on the stage liked you, but you know.
I wasn't around in those days. Don't play that today.
That's a lifetime ago.
Don't play that today.
He has a knife. He's not afraid to use it. Watch out. Watch out.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about virality. We talked about money. There's something about money I wanted to ask you. It was, okay, so 1.75 has turned into a different number. You have that 100,000 saved. You know it's enough. what I hear from people who don't know me, and I probably hear from people who don't know you as well, is, well, if you didn't have this YouTube channel, you couldn't do this, right? What would you say about that?
I would say that there would be less splurging, but we
Okay.
could still do it.
We used to do it.
Right. Because I when we retired, we had about $350,000.
Mhm.
And as long and then we had the one Social Security check, right?
Mhm.
And so we had a little bit of income coming in. We rented a place in Portugal, 3-year lease, and we created a lifestyle that we could live within that
Mhm.
one check, which will just be transparent, is $2,700. So we live within $2,700-ish per month. And you know, we probably would have sold the Denver house.
Okay.
And then boom, there's another $300,000.
Okay.
Now, right?
You went from 1.75 to 300,000, right? And said, we're gonna make this work. That and the $2,700 Social Security, we're gonna make this work, which is a number that I think a lot of people in the FIRE movement, or who are thinking about FIRE or hearing about it, one of the reasons they think it's not achievable is because they keep hearing you need $1 million, you need $2 million, you need 10 million, you need 1.75. You see in these groups, people will say like, I have $10 million saved. Can I retire? And it's like,
Yeah.
You could have been done
You should
retired,
have been
baby girl.
retired.
whatever, right? Like, why are we here? What are we doing? But I think it's really important to say that number, like around $300,000 and $2,700 in Social Security gave you the confidence that you would not need to go back to work. And even if you didn't have a YouTube channel and you weren't making money through that or from the coaching or consulting you do now, you still could live comfortably on the amount of money because you had the Social Security, which you're spending, but you also have a buffer that keeps you safe.
A good buffer,
Good
right?
buffer.
A good, nice buffer. You need to save the amount of money that is going to make you feel comfortable, right? And so for us, $350,000, that was good enough. That was good enough because the majority of it was earning money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it was gonna, deplete. And yeah, I was looking at what Greta said. Yes, we created a lifestyle that fit the budget, not the other way around.
Right.
And so what that would have looked like is doing more house sitting when we go on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
and probably wouldn't be going to South Africa.
Okay. I talked to a friend the other day who said he needs $3 million to retire. And when I heard it, like, there's a part of me, like the coach in me wanted to be like, let's talk about that number. But he has like, 2 hands of kids, right? And like, they probably all want to go learn something somewhere. So like, I think it's very important to recognize that all of our lives are different, right?
Exactly.
And where we retire plays a huge role with that. And will we still, if you're in the sandwich generation, will we still be taking care of people in the years that we want to retire? But I think it's also very, very important to know that retiring on $300,000 and faith is going to be the right choice for some people over retiring on $1 million in 20 years, right? It's just going to be a better choice for some people. And you have to recognize who you are. If you can't retire unless you have a nest egg that feels like enough, although I promise you, it will never feel like enough.
No.
Some of y'all in the audience know this because we've had this conversation. It's never going to feel like enough. You get to the 3 million, it's going to be like, oh, I think I need 5.
A little bit more, a little bit more.
Seriously. And
things have changed. Inflation. Now I need more.
Right.
Pick a number, y'all. Pick a number. Pick a number that feels like a good cushion. When I stopped working, I was like, this is enough money to last. I didn't fire. Like, I didn't know it was a thing when I stopped working. I learned about it afterwards. But when I stopped working, I was like, this is enough money for a cushion for some time. What is the time? I don't know. Delusion. What happens when the money runs out? I don't know. Delusion. But the money's not running out. And I will tell you, I'm not spending less money than I used to do when I was working, like full time. I'm not. I'm splurging more overnight. Like I generally, like anywhere I go, I'm gonna lay flat bed on that plane. Like I'm stretching, and working Rashida would have never done that. Like working full time every day, even though it would be the most comfortable way to go, would have never done that. But now I'm like, I know I'm not gonna sleep on the plane if I have to sit. I do not sleep on planes very well. Over sitting next to a stranger? Ew.
Once you've flown first class, it really is hard to go back. So, okay. So one of the things about not having 1.75, we don't get to fly first class. We've flown first class before, but this is not something that's going to be on our agenda every time, right? Like,
sorry, not
every time,
today, but a couple more viral videos. And Halisi gonna be like, I don't walk that far back in the plane. I'm so sorry. Back there.
Exactly. Somebody asked if that was liquid, 300 plus thousand. It was like 331, 340, something like that. Liquid. That doesn't include the properties. So if we sold both properties, obviously it would be a lot more. But that, when I say liquid, that means stock market too. That means we sold the stock and we get the money, right? Not like having to sell a house.
Right. How has your real estate been treating you in retirement?
We made the mistake of letting family move in.
Okay. You took a deep breath and I was like, girl, you ain't got to answer this question. It's not. Okay. So
you try to be a blessing.
Yeah.
I could tell you.
You try to be a blessing. And I mean, literally people were like, but we're doing you a favor because your house it does not meet health and safety standards.
So why are you here?
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. So we hear all the time in the financial information sector that like real estate is the way to go. And I think it hits home a little bit harder for Black people because of the multiple ways we've been shut out of the real estate market, right? Whether those were like loans to veterans or redlining in communities, being charged higher interest rates, we've been shut out, not being allowed to buy in certain communities. I think the idea of owning real estate is even more amplified as like the way to build wealth in the Black community than in some other communities. But every time, okay, so I've owned a couple properties and sold them all because for me, it always felt like work, right? And so it sounds like you guys have had your own moments, but like, compared to the other things you do and the other ways you're making money, whether that's in the stock market, what you're doing for coaching, what you're doing on YouTube, is the money you're making in real estate, is it 20% of the labor for 2 times the pay, or is the payoff not the same?
The payoff is not the same right now. Again, trying to be a blessing, helping family. I think, and so when people say, I don't want to be a landlord, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like you have to realize that if real estate is the way you want to go, that there's going to be times when it's a pain in the butt, and you have, it just is, right? Like, and you have to have that, when we did the video on 2 emergency funds, we have an emergency fund for our real estate, and then we have our emergency fund. If the water heater goes out, you got to replace that. And I don't believe in those warranties, those homeowners warranties. That's a waste of money. Just save the money yourself, put it in a CD, put it in a high yield savings account, and let your money grow. Don't be giving these other companies your money. Mm-hmm. But sidebar. But so, yeah, it is. And then we're in Portugal, we're on a different time zone, and we're dealing with people who are in our house who think that rent is a suggestion.
It's a gift to you.
Exactly.
This month, I think I will give you this amount. So, if I had to do all over again, would I do it? Yes. I think when you get a certain age and you haven't planned, so we help folks who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan, get their money straight, right? And if you get to a certain age, if you're over 50, if you're closer to 55 or something like this is probably one of the quickest ways to fire cash flow method than anything else, right? It's a lot easier for a person with a good credit score and a little bit of cash to put $10,000, $20,000 down and have a cash flow that can support their lifestyle than it is to put the same amount of money in the stock market and think you're going to get that money in dividends. You're not, right? You need a lot more money in the stock market. A lot more money in the stock market to get those kind of dividends. So I think it's the quickest way to cash flow fire, but it's some work. And then you got to deal with the personalities, and then you learn along the way. So there's certain things now that I've put in the lease that I didn't have in there before, and certain things that I'm requiring that I didn't have before. Because and depending upon the next election, we might be selling the house in Denver.
Okay. All right. Now, without getting too far into your business, although you know that's where I like to be, what is your do you have a money-making strategy for the next 5 or 10 years? Or are you kind of just floating with it now? Like, do you have a plan for what you want to do to increase your abundance?
Yes. So after our vision party, we had a internal strategic planning session. Actually, we need to do a follow-up too, but life be lifing. Yeah, we have business meetings. We do treat this like a business, even though we only put in about 10 hours a week or whatever of what I feel is work. And usually that's around taxes and payroll and crap like that. Figuring out what we're going to talk about doesn't feel like work. Finding folks and looking on YouTube for different folks, that doesn't feel like work. But so we did the Move to Portugal virtual summit. And then somebody got into our comments right after that and said, Halisi, you need to do a Move to Mexico virtual summit. They be making work for me. So it looks like Angela of Lamar and Angela and I are going to do a Move to Mexico virtual summit.
Oh, yay. That's amazing.
So that will be coming up. So, and then we do the meetups. And I think the biggest surge that I would like to see as far as income is concerned is around our courses. Okay. And I've been creating a real estate investment course for a year now. So maybe it's going to get done in the next 3 months or so with my cousin, who he actually is a real estate investor. Yeah. He's got, at this time, I think he's got about 40 doors that he owns, both commercial and residential. At one time he had 60 doors. His wife made him sell some. And so now he's down to 40. And so he and I are putting this course together. And I'm glad I waited, because the market looks very different when the interest rates change. And I wasn't really in the market the last time the interest rates were this high. So now we can speak to it from both angles when and if they ever go back down. I don't know what that's going to look like for America. America's changing a lot. So it's going to be a different course than it was before. But I think the main thrust we'd like to see is passive income from the courses and from a community that has yet to be created.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's awesome. So when you say the community that's yet to be created, in what ways do you have like a tangible community right now? Is it your YouTube comments? Do you have a membership on YouTube? Do you have anything that is like a community?
So we don't have membership. We don't have membership because that's extra work that you have to create content for. And like, no, I saw your other videos for members only. I'm like, see, that's more work. So right now we do have a community for Beyond the Bling. So that's our financial independence course. And there is a paid community that comes if you are in Beyond the Bling, you're in that community. Right now we're reading a book called Take Stock, and we're doing kind of like a book club, as well as starting a stock study group within that community. And then we have a Facebook community called Our BlackUtopia's Fire Over 50. And you don't have to be over 50, but you do have to be from the African diaspora to be in that group. And so that's all about it. There's a little bit of move abroad discussion happening in there, but for the most part, it's about getting your money straight later in life. And so those are the two communities we have right now. But I think the community that is part of our course is going to become a paid community.
Okay.
And we will create extra content and have guest speakers through that.
Okay.
So that's
All
the long-term plan. And so right now we're saving to buy a building in Portugal.
Oh, nice. What is the plan for the building?
So the plan for the building is, and we're going to co-invest with some people. And so my idea is that if we co-invest, let's just say with 4 other people, we buy a building with 8 apartments and we rent 3 of them out or whatever, maybe the basements at market or under market for local folks, but definitely as a money-making venture.
All right. When does Beyond the Bling meet?
So Beyond the Bling, the group coaching is every second Saturday.
Okay.
And it's late enough so that you can still watch Stephanie Perry. I schedule my stuff around you guys.
So I have a group coach. I have a course and it has a group coaching session, and every other month we meet on Saturday morning at the same time as Stephanie's live. And then next month we meet on a Sunday evening. And the ladies be like, "How dare you?" And I'm like, if I don't, it has to be in the morning because we need a morning program and an evening program. If I don't do it on Saturday, I have to not be live on a Sunday. And they're like, "That's your business." But like, you're making us miss stuff. And I'm like, you can watch them. They're like, "Why would you?" And I'm like, what time do you want this? We need one morning and one evening. What time do you want this to be? They'd be mad at me because they can't watch Stephanie live.
Or that she goes long and they had to leave and then come over to our group coaching. Because she ain't doing just 2 hours. She's doing 2.5, 3 hours. And so
y'all should have pushed your group coaching back then, huh?
Exactly. Right? Folks be mad. So yeah. I
do love that about our community though, that's for so many of us, our community overlaps in all those ways. Right. And that so many people in our community are so passionate about us, whether that's all of us, some of us, and one of us, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of passion in our communities and it feels good.
It does feel good. So if you are in Beyond the Bling and you didn't know that we were meeting every second Saturday, check your spam folder.
Ooh. She talking to you, Greta. She talking to you.
Check your spam folder. Because I do send out 2 reminders every single month, y'all.
All right, let me see a couple of questions I didn't get to. That was already answered. Chastity called you guys an amazing couple. Yes, and she wanted to ask how did they overcome and push through any fear of moving to a foreign country?
Oh.
Do you really have fear of moving to a foreign country?
We're too stupid to have fear.
Yeah, we're like that bumblebee. Nobody ever told him that it was impossible for him to fly, but he still does it. I
suppose there's a little bit of butterflies, but you just do the thing anyway. I mean, when I say we were tired of the United States, we were tired of the United States. So that's number 1. Number 2 is I knew that we would not be able to retire with $300,000 and stay in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our choice. Push through the fear and leave, knowing that we could always come back. It helped that we still owned our house. Like, right, we weren't renting and giving up everything. And then we could always come back. Could always get another job.
Kick out some non-rent payers.
So right? Like, you ain't paying rent no way. I'm subsidizing your lifestyle. I'm subsidizing my mama's lifestyle. Like, you guys, you hear me. I'm subsidizing all of these lifestyles and we still have the same amount of money saved cash. It has not gone down,
Yeah.
because when you step out on faith, the universe complies. I don't know how. It's magic. It just happens.
It's
I mean,
magic.
we're doing some things. When opportunities arise, we take advantage of it. You know, we partnered with Krishana Blacks at Global, and we did the summit, and we're doing the meetups, right? So we're doing the fun things in front of us that can also be monetized.
Right.
But like, I didn't have a plan on how, a direct plan on how that money was going to be replaced.
Right.
Mhm.
And like people say, well, the question was asked, well, if you weren't doing YouTube, we are doing YouTube. And it's kind of paying off
Yeah.
right now, and it'll pay off even more. The more we put into it, the more we'll get out of it.
Yeah, it's
But
fun.
you have to take that step. You have to take that leap of faith out there, and not think that you're competing with everybody else with the idea that you may have,
Mhm.
because there's a big world out there. And like you said, people will listen to you until they don't listen to you no more. And there's another teacher out there that might be teaching the same thing, but in a different way that they need to hear. So
So speaking about fear, is that's part of it too, right? Fear of starting a YouTube channel, the fear of moving abroad, all of that is conquered in the same way. And I think that the bottom line is, if you have a vision for what you want your life to look like, do it.
yeah.
I want to pause real quick and talk about YouTube, because one of the things that I shake my head on, I talk to people about, like, how are you going to support yourself when you move abroad? I hear people say, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And I'm always like, oh, wait, because sometimes YouTube channels can be like significantly more successful than you expect. And sometimes they're not. And even though you started this channel, never mind. I'm gonna rephrase this. How long into having this channel did it take from the very first, from when you created the thing? You said we have a channel now. Even before your first, I don't know how long it took to put your first video up. From the moment you created the channel, how long did it take to get to a regular? I want to know when you would have felt comfortable using YouTube to be the only source of income. If you didn't have Social Security, would you, how long would it have taken for you to live on this YouTube income?
If we're talking about just YouTube income,
Just YouTube income.
we still could.
We still could.
I could not live on my YouTube income, and I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
And not even like because I be spending money, women be shopping or whatever. Like
Yeah, no.
Even at my most frugal, I could not live off of YouTube income, especially because YouTube, to this thing that Adelia said earlier, you take 3 weeks off of YouTube, and YouTube is like, obviously you don't want anybody to see your videos, so we're not going to send your videos to nobody. So you're not going to get paid for like the next 6 months. Merry Christmas. And there's nothing you can do about it because it's just the algorithm doing what the algorithm does, right? If you don't constantly feed it or water it, I'll say, the plant's going to die. You got to constantly water it. And so I do get concerned sometimes when people say, my plan for moving abroad is starting a YouTube channel, because I'm able to it's not even paying for the upgrade to one lay flat seat. It's not. It's not.
I'll just say what we're making. We could, because I remember there was this couple called Why Not Now who moved to Querétaro, Mexico, and then they moved to some other towns in Mexico, and they did that. They thought that they were going to live off of YouTube, and it's like, I knew, even though I saw Kelly Stamps and her $40,000, right? With 600,000 subscribers, the YouTube money was $9,000 out of that 40,000. With over 500,000 subscribers. So what are we going to get with 5,000 subscribers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that before the viral video, on average, we were getting about $350 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's splurge money.
It's
It's extra money that you're putting in your IRA or your brokerage account, right? And then, we did have the biggest viral video, and that was like a $10,000 a month.
mm-hmm.
So that's Kelly Stamps. That's what she gets, right? When you have 500,000 views and stuff like that. And then maybe we had some months where it was 1,000 or 2,000 or 1,000, and then it went back down to under 1,000. So yeah, it's, on average, it's $600, $700, $800, $900 a month. It's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
And that is not doing no work, right? Like we are all out here doing work, spending. If you see a video up, hours have probably been spent on that video, and it comes in under $1,000 a month. I'm at 35,000. You guys are at 38,000 subscribers, and so I just want to caution people that, like, yes, be delusional, but don't be delusional and homeless, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Be delusional that your YouTube is going to be so successful, because if Kelly Stamps can make $9,000 a month, and you can live on $9,000 a month, you can do that too. But in your first months, you should have some more money. This should not be your plan, right? You should have, like, they have pension, and they can live solely on their pension, and they have savings as their backup plan. So YouTube money is like, YouTube money when you started this wasn't this is the way we're going to support ourselves. And so I really like, even though we're talking about their successful channel and making $10,000 a month, I want people to be cautious that, like, this isn't, respectfully, YouTube isn't a good financial plan for anyone's future, right? I don't think it is, right? Unless you're a huge channel. But like, sometimes I just get busy, or I have bad months and I can't upload a video, and YouTube is like, well, here's 3 nickels, girl, good luck, or like whatever. And so for all of you out there, YouTube is great. It's a great way. Stephanie talks about this all the time. It's a great way to let people know about the other things you do, right? Like in their video, in the description to this, I linked to the move to Portugal summit that you guys did with BlackUtopia. We linked to their YouTube channel and their Instagram. All good ways to let people know what you're doing. But for YouTube is not a financial plan. I'm so sorry. It's just not. Especially when unless you're having, like, I know pretty much how much I'm going to make from YouTube every single month, because I do the same thing from YouTube for like 8-9 months. So for this year, I know what I'm making from YouTube, unless I take a month off or I have a viral video. Those are the only ways the number is really going to change. Right? Exactly. It might grow slowly, but even in growing slowly, sometimes I have a larger audience and make less money.
Yeah, that's happened. That's happened too. That's happened too.
So I think it's just really important that
YouTube is a way to find your audience, right? To find your audience more easily than you could in the past, to offer the services that you were doing anyway, right? Or maybe they're new services, like, right? We couldn't teach anybody how to get on the path to financial independence until we did it ourselves. So that's something new that we teach. And because before I was a strategic planner, that's the approach that I take.
Okay.
That might work for you, that might not. But yeah, the majority of the money that we have made has not come from YouTube, but via YouTube, because the customers have come from YouTube. So that's the way to look at it.
It's a great way to it's a great way to build your community. It's a great way for people to understand. It's a great way for people to get to know what you have to say and to understand that you have something to say, right?
Right.
Otherwise, without this visibility, how would they know that you actually know what you're talking about, right? Like, people who watch you are like, oh, Rick can speak to my husband, and Rick not gonna show up talking crazy, right? Like,
right.
Exactly.
They know this because they see you, they trust you, they know you. But as a financial plan on its own, y'all, please don't do that.
So Faith, Kelly Stamps, out of the 40,000, no, it's not that she took home 9,000, the rest was taxes. It's that it came from other sources, like if she has a course or sponsorships and things like that. So that's what makes up the rest of the money. 9,000 was the ad revenue.
Not to get too deep into it, but Jazzy, you said larger audience and less money. My videos reached less people that month, or my videos, like I just did a video, reached a lot of people, but it was super short, right? Like on average, it was maybe a 5-minute video. On average, people watch like 2. If you get to 50 people watching 50% of your video, that's exceptional, right? So on average, they watch 2.5 minutes out of the 50 minutes, which is a very amazing watch time of a 5-minute video. But when I have a video that goes like mini viral and they're only watching 2.5 minutes, they may not have made it to the first ad. And if they don't make it to the first ad, where's the money? There's no money, right? Like, so it really is. There's so many factors that go into it. But yeah, a lot of times as my audience can every month my audience is bigger, but every month I'm not getting more money from YouTube, if that makes sense. Some months, I remember I think like 6 months ago, I hit Adelia up and I was like, are you seeing what? She was like, yes. The numbers are just way down. We don't know what's going on. The numbers at YouTube are just like the payout is way down. Sometimes you'll have much more views and lower pay. It is what it is.
There's a lot that goes into it. It's click per view. You know, there was a period, and I don't know if it was because when we were in Mexico that our clicks per view went down. And so, like, say for instance, sometimes people, you know, you'll get to the point where advertisers are paying $30 for every 1,000 views. And then sometimes they're paying $19 for every 1,000 views, or $9 for every 1,000 views. There's some YouTubers who get paid $2 to $3 for every 1,000 views. We're always up in the teens and higher, but it just depends. So you can have more views and make less money. Mm-hmm. And when we were in Mexico, I don't know if it's because we were in Mexico, the clicks per views went down, or the cash per 1,000 views went down. When we went to Portugal, it went back up.
Who knows? And there's no way to know, right? There's absolutely no way to know. So,
Anya's talking about if we buy a building in Portugal, she'll rent from us.
Requirements. There's an elevator unit on the first or second floor. She got a list. She said,
but this is what I need.
This is what you need to look for. Okay, so I held y'all over 30 minutes over time. Another thing people say is like, y'all just make these videos long so you can get more money. And I'm like, I make these videos long because I be talking. Like,
you lose track.
You lose track, yeah.
About 40 minutes ago, I was like, oh, it's time to wrap this up. And now here we are.
And here we are. And here, so on Thursdays, every other Thursday, we go live. So, and that's how we've been able to stay consistent. The edited videos are icing. We go live every other Thursday, and it's supposed to be, we're just answering one question and we're going to keep it short.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're supposed to be, steal it. We got the idea from Think Media or StreamYard.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this is a way to create short content without editing, because I don't want to do that work, y'all. And neither does he.
That's a lot of work.
So the idea is that, you know, we get certain questions from the audience and we answer one question and one question only. We keep it short. We don't do the interaction with the audience. We don't take comments. I mean, they're in there doing their chitty chat, but we don't necessarily answer them. And still, we can go 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
We went over.
We've gone to 40 minutes. We've never gotten to 40 minutes, except for with Rossini. We got to an hour.
One time we went.
We didn't do no 2-hour Thursday. You keep saying that. We didn't do that.
Okay.
But Rick is behind, so I got to give him this point. Rick is right. Halisi, you're wrong. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Just so we can. He got that voice, girl. I'm sold now. You might have to. I'm not throwing nothing on stage, but you might have to.
But yeah, it's really easy to go long. And the thing about it, guys, is that like if you only do short videos, that's less opportunities to watch ads. And so that's another reason why sometimes when you have longer videos, you can make more money. But it's not going to be big money. It's not going to be big money. I always
tell when someone is stretching out the video to make like because for you guys who don't know, YouTube doesn't allow mid-roll ads under, it's 8 minutes, right? If the video is shorter than 8 minutes, they don't, or is it 5 now? Whatever number it is, they don't allow ads if the video is in the middle, if it's too short. And sometimes you'll see people stretching videos out. Like it's going like, there's nothing on the back end besides them like looking around or like, oh, look, have you seen my new bracelet kind of thing? Just to make it long.
Okay.
You can tell. So they can get that. But like, nobody's sticking around. You know what I mean? Like your person is clicked off, so we're not going to get to the ad. I mean, you can put the ad in, but whatever. Exactly. But yes, so for the people who are like, y'all go long so you can make more money. No, that's not a good strategy, because I've now spent this 2.5 hours I spent with you guys. If I spent it working on other parts of my business, I would have made a lot more money than I'll ever make from this video. From this video, in the next 6 months from this video, I might make $100 over 6 months, right? Maybe over the 2.5 hours I spent. If I spent 2.5 hours doing something, trying to sell the course, do something else, I would make a lot more money than $100 over 6 months. This is not a money make, like this itself is not a money making proposition.
No. This is to me, I look at it as a service. This is my give back, so that we can show other people what is possible. Because we're on a mission. And the mission started the moment I saw the video. I've said this every single time I've talked to you. I saw the video of you talking to Stephanie. It was called The Great Resignation. It was back in those days. And you looked in the camera and said, they do not deserve all your Black brilliance. That was it.
No, they don't.
That was it. And I've been on a mission ever since. You're right. And I was crying. I had like Tammy Baker tears coming down my face. And they don't. And it's true. And it's true for everyone who's watching us. Y'all, America does not deserve you. And you do not want to get stuck. If this election goes sideways, whether it's at the presidential level or if it's just Congress and Senate, things can change. Our passport can lose value.
Take a whole lot longer to get a passport.
Yeah, they can do anything without passing laws. There's lots of things that can happen without passing laws to make it harder to leave this country if you want to. And I don't think that America deserves any free thinking Black folks. They don't deserve us.
No. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
And I'll see you guys in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Is it just 2 weeks? Hopefully it's 3 weeks.
Well, no,
I need more time.
I'm going early. I'm going in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'll see you guys.
We'll be there like on the 14th.
Okay.
We leave on the 13th. We land on the 14th.
Okay. I go early, leave town for a little while, and then come back on the 14th. So I'll see you guys there.
So, yes.
Thank you for being so amazing. The audience loves you. Thank you for being this one's for Halisi, Rick. Thank you for being such an amazing member of the Exodus Summit community. We've always appreciated you being here and being supportive. Rick, thank you for being the body man, the bodyguard, and a great extra community member. We really enjoy you there. Auntie Lou said, get your stage outfit together. I just said sing. Now she's saying perform. She said stage outfits. There are requests.
We got to find some sequins, baby.
Yes.
And a wide velvet collar.
Oh, no.
I'm with it.
No.
I'm with the vision.
Y'all have me in a powder blue tuxedo.
Powder blue tuxedo.
Oh, Lord.
I know it's summer in South Africa, but what about floor length fur and like no shirt? Are we doing
and a wide brim hat?
Like sexual chocolate?
You see the energy.
Sexual chocolate, y'all.
Y'all crazy.
Okay, thank you guys so much. I'll let you go back to your day. Enjoy LA, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right. See you
Bye.
Guys.